All right, so what is our next destination in space?
The next ultimate destination is
No,
Mars.
the next one.
Congressman, the next destination, as I said before, is the International Space Station. And
All
we've
right,
got
let's
to do that
not
one
be
more time.
trite then. What is the one after that?
It's Mars.
So there's nothing in between as far as you're concerned.
But there are intermediate stops
What are
on the way
they?
there.
What's the next one?
The moon is a destination. Lagrange points are destinations.
Which one is next?
You mean where do we go immediately next? Is that the question?
That's what next
Incrementally?
means.
Maybe that's why people say NASA stands for never a straight answer. Anyway, let's go ahead and pretend, however, that we all trust and believe everything NASA says like it's golden, as if they're the most trustworthy government agency we're unable to question for some reason that has never been sufficiently explained to me, but people just get really mad when you dare to question them. Here are two of the most hilarious things I've ever heard come out of NASA, and by hilarious, I actually mean stupid. Mind-rapingly stupid. First of all, in the lead up to the 40th anniversary of man's supposed walk on the moon in 1969, NASA came forward with the claim that all of the Apollo 11 telemetry data was missing. And by missing, I mean erased. They came out with this report claiming that while the Apollo 11 astronauts were landing on the moon, they were sending this live to televisions all over the world. But what the world got was grainy, blurry, ghost-like footage of very low quality that was blamed on the transfer and broadcasting of these tapes to live TV, which left the whole thing looking like a third-generation photocopy. Very poor quality, but they claimed that at NASA's tracking stations in California and Australia, the engineers there were receiving clear, crisp video on special television monitors capable of displaying their unconventional special videos. So what they were seeing was all crisp and clear and you could see everything, but what everyone else got on live TV was really poor quality. Turns out after that broadcast, the engineers at those stations never saw those telemetry tapes ever again. This is what they claim. And they had this Herculean effort where they got all these people together and they interviewed all these people and they went to hunt down these tapes and they spent 3 years trying to find out where the telemetry tapes went from what we are still today told was possibly the most monumentous thing that human beings did ever in the entire 20th century. But in their own report, they admit that aside from a few canisters of Apollo 9 telemetry tapes still stored, the Apollo era telemetry tapes no longer exist anywhere. They're gone. That's right. But it gets better because they taped over it, and Hollywood is gonna fix it. So NASA lost their footage of landing on the moon, but Hollywood's gonna restore it. It becomes like a Three Stooges episode. As you read this article, it just gets more ridiculous. So this is the Associated Press, July 17th, 2009. NASA could put a man on the moon, but didn't have the sense to keep the original video of the live TV transmission. Oops. In an embarrassing acknowledgement, the space agency says Thursday it must have erased the Apollo 11 moon footage years ago so it could reuse the tape. That's right, so it could reuse the tape that it was on. So it isn't just that it got lost. It got purposefully erased because they needed to reuse that tape for something else that was more important than the original footage of man walking on the moon. But now Hollywood's coming to the rescue because the studio wizards who restored Casablanca are digitally sharpening and cleaning up the ghostly, grainy footage of the moon landing and making it even better than what TV viewers saw on July 20th, 1969. They claim there's nothing being created or manufactured, just it's, gonna be better because Hollywood. They go through and talk about this refurbishing effort, and they got this guy, Nafzger, who said that after the huge search began 3 years ago for the old moon tapes, they were led to the inescapable conclusion that 45 tapes of Apollo 11 video were erased and reused. The original videos beamed to Earth were stored on giant reels of tape that contained 15 minutes of video along with other data from the moon. In the 70s and 80s, however, NASA had a shortage of tapes, so it erased 200,000 of them and reused them. They had billions of dollars, but they couldn't afford some extra tapes. They just, you know how it goes. You just gotta... Nafzger, who was in charge of the live TV recording back in the Apollo years, said they were mostly thought of as data tapes, and it wasn't his job to preserve history, he said, just to make sure the footage worked. In retrospect, he said he wished NASA hadn't reused the tapes. Oh, he does he? Outside historians were aghast. It's surprising to me that NASA didn't have the common sense to save perhaps the most important historical footage of the 20th century. These are rocket scientists, right? Isn't that what people always say? What are you, a rocket scientist? Mind-boggling. The tapes just disappeared. It didn't disappear. It was erased. It was purposefully erased. So now the people who are doing Casablanca, they're going to redo it. So anything that anyone sees will be the Hollywood magical digitally remastered version, which I'm sure we can all trust just as much as we can trust Dick Nafzger and NASA about what happened to those original telemetry tapes. That's first of all. Now let's just continue to assume everything we've been told about going to the moon is true. For some reason that again has never been sufficiently explained, no human has traveled beyond low Earth orbit since 1972, when the Apollo missions to the moon ended. That is what we are told. We're not told why, we're just told they never have. But lots of people have asked why. Why exactly is it that we went there for a few years and then never all this time have we ever returned to the moon? Well, let's leave that to Don Pettit, chemical engineer who used to be a staff scientist at Los Alamos National Lab before becoming a NASA astronaut and supposedly going on not one but 2 long-duration stays on the International Space Station. Let's hear what he has to say about why we've never been back to the moon.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again. We destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
So, in case you were wondering why it is that we've never gone back to the moon, apparently the technology that they spent billions of dollars building to get there was destroyed for reasons that were, again, not explained.
And don't ask me how I got to eggs on space station.
And it's painful to build that back again. So, so that's why. I guess that's why some reason we're erasing the original telemetry tapes and we're destroying the technology to get there. So that's it. NASA erased the telemetry tapes. They erased the original tapes of the moon landing. There are no tapes. They admit in their final report, the Apollo era telemetry tapes no longer exist anywhere whatsoever, gone forever, and for completely unexplained reasons that again will probably never be explained, just like nothing ever is. They destroyed the technology to get to the moon, and they're gonna have to build that again. No wonder people who love and trust NASA so much get so angry when you even dare to question them. Futurist and sci-fi writer Arthur C. Clarke once claimed that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Think about that for a second. Once the technology is no longer sufficiently advanced, however, the magic, well, it kind of wears off.
We destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.